We are back with another monthly wrap-up of some of the weird, bizarre, and even scary news to come out of Japan over the last month. So, what happened over the last month or so? Let's take a look. Number 1. To kick things off, it was reported that on November 20th, police in Shizuoka referred a 77-year-old man to the public prosecutor's office. And what was this elderly man's great crime? According to them, he was in possession of a lethal firearm. 2, even. And he was the one who handed them in the first place. But that's not all. They were actually toy guns. Toy guns he didn't even order. Let's explain. The 77-year-old claimed that he received 2 toy guns, Chinese-made, that he didn't even order back in August. Because he couldn't contact the sender, he simply left them untouched. When he was reading the newspaper the same day, he saw a notice asking for anyone possessing such guns to return them. As it turns out, these guns, although toys, could actually fire real bullets, and that's very much against Japan's firearms law. The problem arose, however, because the grace period for collecting these particular toy guns was all the way back in March, and the one he read about was a different type. So, while the man himself didn't really do anything wrong, technically, he was still in possession of weapons that could fire real bullets. And so, police had to charge him. As of making this video, it's unknown whether the 77-year-old will actually be charged in court, but it seems likely this one will eventually get thrown out, for obvious reasons. Number 2. Have you ever sat there, watching your clothes swishing around and around in the washing machine, and thought to yourself, "You assholes, that should be me"? I mean, haven't we all been there? Well, don't you worry, because Japan has you covered once again. If you head over to the Dalton Body Crystal Hotel 3, you can experience the pure joy that is the human washing machine. For a cool 18,000 yen, you get an hour and a half with this clean beast. While it can fit a max of 4 people, the hotel is currently accepting bookings for at least 2 people or more, and they claim that you can be washed like a piece of clothing for about 20 minutes at a time, although this includes the time it takes to fill with water as well. If you're wondering what it feels like to be in a human washing machine, well, it's basically a super fancy spa with bubbles and mist that hit you all over, alongside undulating water. You know, like a washing machine. Presumably you don't actually get tossed around like a dirty sock, but hey, there's only one way to find out. Number 3. On November 15th, police in Tokyo arrested a 17-year-old boy for using a fraudulent credit card to buy Pokemon cards, all the way back in May. During questioning, the boy revealed he was interested in finding vulnerabilities in web security, and he wanted to investigate how such cases of fraud can be carried out. A likely story, but as police dug further into the case, they found something interesting. It appeared he was also involved in the Kaikatsu Club leak back in January, which saw the personal information of over 7 million people leaked. And also, he did it using ChatGPT. According to police, the boy developed a program to gain unauthorized access to the Kaikatsu Club website, and he did this by asking ChatGPT questions, in a roundabout way, on how to deal with error messages and how to get around a website's defenses. Using this information, he honed his program and then successfully broke in. But not only that, he reportedly spoke about doing all of this on Discord and even live streamed it for like-minded chatters. Needless to say, with this new information under their belt, police issued another arrest warrant on December 4th, and this case is still ongoing. Number 4. In this month's horrifyingly gross news, a 26-year-old man was arrested on November 21st for fraudulent obstruction of business. And how exactly did he obstruct a business? By peeing in a bottle of tea and placing it on a shelf in a convenience store in Chiba City, back in May this year. With his urine apparently being the same color as bottled tea, nobody noticed until a customer actually bought it, took it home, opened it, and then immediately noticed the smell. 2 whole days later. Yes, the bottle of pee sat on the store shelves for 2 days with nobody noticing it. The customer immediately notified the store, who then notified the police. When questioned, the man said it was just a prank, bro, and that he was stressed from work. I mean, aren't we all? But most of us still find ways to not pee in bottles and try to sell them. But maybe that's just me, I don't know. Number 5. It's been a while since we had some Exit 8 news, so how about some, Exit 7 news? This month, another subway in Kyoto was making waves online because people realized they couldn't find Exit 7. You can search and walk all day and all night, but the mysterious Exit 7 at Gojo Station simply refuses to be found. In fact, it's so famous that it's called one of the local Gojo 7 mysteries. So, what's the story here then? Where on earth is the mysterious Exit 7? If you follow Gojo Station's exits, you can find Exit 1 through to Exit 6, and then of course Exit 8 itself. But 7 defies explanation. It's just not there, despite appearing on a bus stop map nearby. If you follow the map, you just end up at a car park. What the hell? But according to a station official, there simply never was an Exit 7 to begin with. The station names all exits on the right with odd numbers, and all on the left with even numbers. So, because that car park sits where Exit 7 would have been, they simply skipped it. Simple as that. But what about the bus stop map? This appears to have been a small overlooked error, where they assumed that Exit 7 would have been there thanks to the naming scheme, but they weren't aware that something else already existed in that space. And so, a local legend was born. Easy as that. Number 6. On December 3rd, police in Aichi arrested a 43-year-old former public servant. And what was this guy doing? Well, he was accessing private information from the city hall he worked at to use for his side job as a private investigator. Yep, you heard that right. The man reportedly worked in Toyota City for 6 years, up until last March, as a member of the Board of Education. He was in charge of the Health and School Meals Division, but it appears that wasn't good enough for him and he took on a side job as a PI, investigating love affairs. Because he was a public servant, he had access to personal information, and he used that to help his own private investigations. I don't think I need to spell out how big of a no-no that all is, and this eventually made its way to police. When questioned, he admitted to the charges. Police suspect he illegally accessed and used personal information dozens of times over the years, but this case is still ongoing. Number 7. On a strangely similar note, the Tokyo District Court ruled this month that a married man had to pay a female office worker he met on a matchmaking app over 1.5 million yen for infringing upon, and I'm not joking here, her chastity rights. Let's break this one down. Japan has something known as chastity rights. It doesn't mean what you think it might mean, however. It's more related to a romantic partner misrepresenting themselves to you. For example, if you start dating someone and they claim they are single, but it later turns out that they're actually married, well, your chastity rights have been broken. After all, if you're both dating under the pretext of being single, there's at least the valid notion that this relationship could potentially lead to marriage in the future. But that's impossible if your partner is already married. And thus, under Japanese law, it's determined that your sexual freedom, or your chastity, has been violated. And so, according to the woman who just won her lawsuit, she met this man on a matchmaking app where she specifically stated she wasn't looking for any married men. Only single men. This man matched with her, they dated and had a physical relationship for 4 months, and then he suddenly cut off contact. The woman hired a private investigator to figure out why, discovered he was married, and so decided to exercise her rights and sue him. The maximum one can receive through chastity rights is 3 million yen, but it depends on a variety of factors, such as the length of the relationship and whether the woman got pregnant or not. But in this case, the woman was awarded around 1.5 million yen. Don't lie, folks. It will come back to get you in the end. Number 8. A man visiting Kikaijima, a small island that sits roughly halfway between Okinawa and the southern tip of Kyushu, was in for a shock when he visited the beach on December 3rd. There, he found the wreckage of, well, something rather big. 9 meters long, in fact. But what was it? Replies remarked that it looked like part of a ship or boat, or maybe even part of a silo. Others noted how it kind of looked like a rocket. The man who found it thought it was part of a North Korean missile when he first came across it, but inside discovered Chinese writing saying cable bundle, next to something that looked like white ropes. Officials from Kagoshima contacted the Japan Aerospace Exploration Agency, wondering if it might belong to them, but they claimed it wasn't theirs. To date, the true origins of this mystery hunk of metal remains unknown, but it's hardly the first piece of junk to wash up on shore in and around Kagoshima, with apparently 1,755 tons of junk washing up last year alone. Yikes. Number 9. Sticking with giant hunks of junk. Have you ever walked through the ticket gates at a train station and thought to yourself, man, I'd sure love to take this baby home? Well, once again, unsurprisingly, Japan has got you covered. The Sagami Railway Company is selling some surplus automatic ticket gates, and for a cool 200,000 yen, you too could own this equipment that otherwise retails normally for 15 million yen. Not gonna lie, that is some massive savings. These are the gates that automatically read tickets or IC cards, although the security-related parts have been removed, so you'll have to figure out a way to fix that yourself if you do buy them. The company ordered more gates than they needed over the years, so now they're selling off the extras as surplus. To buy, however, you must agree to moving the gates by yourself, and they're not light, coming in at 400 kilograms a set. And you must agree to media interviews as well. Because of course. Not gonna lie, I'd love to install some of these in the front of my house to keep unwanted folks out. Seems like a sweet deal if you ask me. Number 10. And finally this month, you didn't think we were done with the bears, did you? It's that time of year again, and on December 12th, this year's kanji of the year was announced. It was, of course, none other than bear. The kanji for bear received 23,346 votes, with rice coming in just shy of 200 votes behind, because this was a pretty rough year for rice prices as well. But it's hard to deny the impact bears had on the country this last year, being almost constantly in the news with endless sightings, attacks, and closures of public schools and buildings because of the large angry creatures lurking nearby. It seems like a fitting way to close out the year, And here's hoping that next year they calm down a little. Then the cosplayers can perhaps feel free to go back outside in their bear suits, without fear of taking a long, long nap again. And that's just some of the weird, bizarre, terrifying, and also kind of funny news that came out of Japan last month. But what about you guys? Hear of anything odd or terrifying, weird or funny? Let me know in the comments below, and I'll see you again next time.